Hello, and welcome. You are about to enter the Large K Podcast.
What's up, everybody? My name is Kazu, and welcome to Large K Podcast. On this new episode, I talked with Jett Kwong. She's a really cool artist from Los Angeles, and she's a Guzheng player. If you don't know what that is, it's a big Chinese string instrument. It's kind of similar to Japanese koto. She released her fantastic Stark Night EP last year, and currently working on new music. The exciting thing is that she's creating a video to accompany every song. So we talked about that, which was interesting, and also she gave us details on how she picked Guzheng as her main instrument. This was a really fun interview, and I hope you all enjoy this episode. This is Large K Podcast with Jett Kwong.
I still think about college. I mean, I graduated 3 years ago, and I still think, like, was it worth it? Like, why did I go to school? I mean, I guess I met some people. They didn't really give any career help at all in any sense.
Yeah.
But I think the thing that I really learned was to how to question who I am as an artist.
Yeah.
Which has its time and place, you know? Like, that's not going to make or break your career necessarily. But, I don't know. For me, that was really important to get my confidence torn down all the way.
Yeah, that makes sense.
You know, and now I feel like I'm building it in a stronger way.
Yeah.
You know, like...
I get you.
My confidence, you know, I mean, as a person, musically, whatever, creatively, artistically, but also just as a person, like, what kind of person do I want to be?
No, it's true. Like, when it comes to, like, counseling at those schools, they just teach you how to graduate, right? And then, like, it's kind of like, after that, after you graduate and get your diploma and shit like that, you're kind of like, okay, where am I at? You know? It's that's kind of how I felt at that moment, just because, like, so then, like, I ended up moving back to, like, LA to just kind of, like, figure things out, you know, so.
You're from here?
I'm from Beverly Hills originally.
Okay,
yeah.
so, LA.
You know, watching 16-year-old, like, driving Beamers around, it's
apparently I was conceived in Beverly Hills.
Oh, really?
Yes, it's a really disturbing fun fact. Yeah, apparently my parents were here on vacation staying at the Beverly Hills Hotel.
Like Hilton or something like that, or?
I think the Beverly Hills Hotel, isn't that different than the Hilton?
Yeah, Beverly Hills Hotel is basically Hotel California.
Yeah. They're staying there during the earthquake of 92. And apparently, according to my father, that's when I was conceived, during the earthquake.
Ah, that's pretty cool.
I guess so. As long as you don't visualize it, it's fine.
According to my mom, she said, like, I was sleeping, so I didn't notice any earthquakes at all. Like, this was, like, 92, so I was 2. So you were born in 92, right? Like,
We're 93.
93, oh, okay. Okay, gotcha. So you're 24?
I just turned 24.
24. Congrats, man.
Yeah, you know, it's weird. Turning 24, I'm starting to think about my age a little bit differently. Where it's not the same, like, oh my god, I'm so old. It's not the shallow, like, oh, I'm getting older. I really feel like I'm 24, like I'm stepping into young adulthood. It's weird. It's not bad or good, it just is. I don't know.
Right, yeah.
Yeah.
I get you.
Yeah, but, you know, I do feel lucky that I graduated so early. So I could kind of, like, live through these tumultuous times in the real world, you know, like, and not be in school. Yeah, I graduated from high school a year early.
Oh, okay.
I definitely needed to get the hell out of there.
GED, or, like, just, like, pass the test and just get the hell out of there?
No, I graduated.
Oh, you just graduated? Like,
yeah.
Oh, damn, okay.
I know, I was very determined. Everyone tried to stop me, at the school, I mean.
Right, okay, gotcha.
But basically what I did was I took online classes while I was taking, like, my regular classes.
Okay.
So I was taking, like, statistics and calculus, 2 science classes, like, it was crazy. But I got out, and then I graduated from Cal Arts when I was 20, so I was just like, done with school.
I thought I graduated early, but you graduated earlier, so I mean, like, with 20, I mean, that's crazy.
Yeah.
So cool, though. I mean,
it was necessary. I mean, it's, for me, personally. I'm glad that I've had this time to really learn about myself.
Exactly.
You know, like, you know, it takes a while. Everyone says, like, oh, it's going to take about a year for you to get it. If you've been in school for, like, 17 years of your life, it takes more than a year to decompress from that.
Exactly,
you know? I mean, it's my 3rd year out of school, and I finally feel okay. Like, I'm like, all right, I can do this. I can do this life thing.
Yeah, so you were conceived in Beverly Hills, but born in, like, Denver, you said, right?
Yeah, I was born in Denver.
Okay, gotcha. Conceived in Beverly Hills.
Well, in theory, I mean, whatever.
Right, yeah. So did you, like, go to, like, high school there, or did you, like, grow up in Los Feliz area? Or?
No, I grew up in Denver.
So you grew up in Denver?
Yeah.
Okay.
I went to an art school, Denver School of the Arts.
Oh, okay.
For high school.
Okay.
3 years. Seems like longer, but yeah, 3 years.
Wow. Your life is filled with so much art, then I'm going to, like, the high school of arts to, like, the Cal Arts.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, it's a lot.
Yeah. By the way, like, do you ever meet any elitists when you're in Cal Arts, or?
I mean, yeah, duh.
Yeah.
Well, first of all, I mean, I think the art world is kind of this cradle for elitism. You know, they go hand in hand. Which I think, you know, is always changing, especially now that art, you know, in quotations, is much more accessible now.
Right, yeah.
Like, you don't have to go to art school. you don't have to spend money on these like expensive things and whatever, you know. You can just literally get an Instagram account and take photos and, you know, gain some sort of recognition for what, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, it's much more accessible, which is, you know, neither good nor bad in my opinion. But yeah, definitely. I mean, I think that was part of why in school I felt like my identity was torn down, you know?
Right.
Partly because of, you know, there's this sort of... CalArts is specifically, like, very experimental.
Yeah.
But, honestly, if everyone who's doing experimental art is doing the same thing, is it experimental anymore? No.
Not really, no.
You know? But everybody wants to feel important, and there's definitely this entitlement that goes with not only universities and school, but also art and being an artist. You know, there's this overthinking things, and I mean, there's just this strange context that still exists to this day. Right. Yeah. You know, and I'm not into that. I mean, of course, I know that I contribute to that in some way. Of course. Yeah. I'm not totally separate from that world.
Right. Have you seen the video of this dude who went to like an art museum and then he dropped a glove on the floor, and then like people actually thought that it was like an actual like artwork, so like they like walked around it and stuff.
Yeah. I mean, and that's the thing, when I go to galleries or when I go to see things, like, I am very critical, you know, and I have to reflect on that and be like, okay, you know, I am not separate than this world. I'm very critical. You know, I think that I have a certain taste and am not shy about commenting on that. But I think that there's a way to be critical about art, especially nowadays. I think everything is political. I mean, if there was ever a time when people were debating, is art inherently political? I mean, now, in my opinion, it has to be. No matter what the intention is behind it, it is somehow political.
That's true.
So I think it's necessary to be critical and really think about things, but then be able to turn that back on yourself and be aware of your own judgments. You know, because everything comes from you.
Makes sense.
You know, I feel like it's really true. The harshest judgments you deal out really have to do with how you judge yourself. Right. You know?
Yeah. You're your own, like, what is it, worst critic or something?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, what was the, I was just wondering, were you playing music, like, while you were in Denver, too?
You mean when I was growing up there?
Yeah, like, what was your first instrument?
Voice.
Voice?
Yeah, I mean, I remember sitting in my mom's Subaru Outback with, like, these cigarette burns in the seats. And she had 3 CDs that I remember listening to all the time. Blondie, Patsy Cline, and the Carpenters. And I would just listen to those songs on repeat and make up whatever babbly words to these songs.
Wow.
But only in private. And my mom and my stepdad started taking voice lessons. They did some piano too, so then they had me do voice lessons in piano.
Okay.
Hated piano. I would cheat. That's like the first tests I would cheat on were these piano tests.
Okay.
When I was 5 years old.
Okay.
Like, I've been cheating on tests since I was 5. Just shows you. But I always loved singing. It just felt really good. And I wasn't a natural performer. I was really shy. But, you know, in the school choir, I always felt like I excelled. And then if I was ever going through anything, I felt like there was some sort of solace that I had with my voice teacher. And, you know, it was also something that I felt like I was recognized for being good at, which felt different than, you know, just, so that felt good.
Yeah, it gave you a lot more confidence, right? I mean,
it just validated me, you know, because
it
it was something that I enjoyed, that I worked on, that I was validated for.
Yeah.
You know, which is like, maybe it's just specifically my family, but now they're a little bit different. You know, we've worked through some stuff, but I think growing up they weren't generous with validation. Like, they're just very critical.
Okay.
You know, especially like my mom's side of the family are just very critical.
Right.
I mean, of course they would say like, oh, you're so smart, you're so this, but don't ruin your potential. Like, one little step, you could just ruin your life. Like, maybe it was that kind of feeling.
Okay, yeah.
You know, it's just, like the desire for perfection.
It's hella strict then, huh?
In a way. I mean, I think my mom, she's very Americanized. She's born in Hong Kong,
Okay.
but she grew up in New York
Okay.
from the age of 8 on.
Okay.
So she's the most Americanized of the family
Mm.
on the Chinese side, for sure.
Right.
But she still has that strict, critical, sort of cold upbringing,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
So she has this interesting mix of, she never wanted to force me to do anything because her parents forced her to do things.
Right.
So, you know, I played flute, I played cello, I played piano. She never made me practice. She never made me do my homework, so I just didn't do it. Like, she was the mom who would pick me up from school in the middle of the day, just be like, you want to go to KFC? Like, you know, which was fun when I was a kid.
Yeah.
But now looking back, I'm like, wow, I could have really learned some discipline.
Yeah.
There was none.
Right.
Yeah, there was just an expectation for perfection without learning
Okay.
the discipline.
Yeah.
You know? So it's like this sort of weird, and I would say Chinese expectation for perfection in everything that you do.
Mm-hmm.
But then there was no discipline.
Right. Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
as my grandma says, diligence. You know, I'm still cultivating that, I feel, on my own, because I don't feel I necessarily learned that skill growing up.
Right. Yeah. Did you are you bilingual in Mandarin too, or
I do not speak any Mandarin.
Okay.
It's kind of an issue. Yeah, so my mom never learned Mandarin.
Okay.
So everyone in the family speaks Cantonese and Mandarin, and my grandma speaks like Shanghainese, and my grandpa spoke different
Okay.
like dialects. But my mom never learned Mandarin. She doesn't really know how to read or write.
Okay.
So when I was growing up, this goes with the discipline thing.
Yeah.
She didn't force me to go to Mandarin school.
Right.
You know, and she says nowadays, like, oh, you didn't want to. I'm like, well, but maybe you should
Maybe you
have
should have just put it
like
in
forced
there.
me.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I was learning Cantonese growing up, mostly from my grandparents.
Okay.
And I'm still learning, and I'm just now in the last year learning how to read and write, which will help facilitate learning Mandarin in the future.
Yeah.
But
Because I asked because you also sing in Mandarin at times too, right?
yeah, I do, and I mean that helps me learn the language. And I've been writing songs in Cantonese actually.
Mm-hmm.
So I have kind of, it's not a separate project, but I have a kind of a secondary music project where I'm writing Cantonese and some Mandarin pop songs.
That's so cool.
Yeah, because I have connections in Hong Kong and China. My grandma, who's 94, still has a ton of friends and a ton of connections in Hong Kong. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Like in the music industry, in the film industry, it's crazy. She's really she's a crazy lady. Yeah, so I'm kind of just trying to navigate that, because when I've gone there, I mean, especially the first time I went to Hong Kong, I expected to just feel right at home.
Yeah.
And I didn't.
Yeah.
And I didn't the second time, and I didn't the third. Like, I really, really was very clear to me how American and how white I am.
Yeah. I mean, the thing you're talking about, the earliest like records you listen to, including like the Carpenters, that's actually staying with me. Like, you know,
Interesting.
Yeah, like when I was a kid, like a few of the acts that my mom will listen to would be Japanese pop music, like a lot of boy band stuff from the 90s, and then Hall & Oates, and then
I love Hall & Oates.
And then the Carpenters. And actually, I don't know what it is, but like a lot of Japanese people, they listen to the Carpenters and the Beatles for some reason. So I don't know if it appeals to like Asian Americans.
Yeah, I remember that actually. I remember seeing a video of Karen Carpenter just going at it on the drums.
Yeah.
And I think they were on tour in Japan or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, interesting. Yeah.
No, she's one hell of a drummer. I mean, she was. There we go.
Oh, yeah. No, and yeah, I just recently kind of was rediscovering the Carpenters, because I get asked all the time, just, I mean, by anyone, like, oh, who are your musical influences? And honestly, I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm not the person who I'm like, I sound like blah, 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 and blah, blah, blah. I really don't know.
Yeah.
I feel like my influences are so broad and mixed up. And I mean, those may be my earliest influences.
Yeah.
Maybe like Hayao Miyazaki films. There were a few movies I just watched over and over as a kid.
Yeah.
Like maybe the music and the scenery and the visuals from there.
Yeah.
I don't know. And then there's all the music I listened to in high school. I trained classically for a while, so
Yeah.
you know, classical music. I mean, I just don't know.
Yeah, asking that question is kind of tough just because, like, I mean, lately there's so much music out there that, like,
Totally.
you know, one day you're influenced by, like, I don't know, just some SoundCloud rapper versus, like a wind and a chime or whatever, you know, like, it could be anything out there. So, yeah, I mean, it's just kind of hard to just, like, pinpoint that. And so a lot of people just be like, I don't know. So, like, I don't really, you know, ask that. It's just kind of like, yeah, it's kind of, yeah, it's a weird situation.
I'm just told that that's one of those things that you have to have your answer for. And to this day, I'm just like, you know what? I don't know. And I don't really listen to music. I know that sounds crazy, but I mean, I do listen to some music, but I don't know very many new things musically. And I don't know if this is like a sort of a self-preservation thing because I feel like my head is just filled with that all the time.
Yeah.
So I'm very slow to listen to new music, and I usually like to just go back to the music that I know and just listen to it over and over again.
Right, yeah. I understand. Yeah. What's the, I was wondering, because, so you started with the voice and you know, dove into different instruments, but how did you start playing Guzheng?
Okay, yeah. So I've played many instruments, you know, from, like I said, cello, flute, accordion, ukulele, mandolin.
Nice.
You know, all this crap. And it's not crap, it's great. But I was crap. Maybe that's what I should say. It just didn't resonate with me, you know. Those instruments just didn't resonate with me. And I have always had an aversion to the guitar.
Yeah.
Since I was a teenager.
Mm-hmm.
Because this was my reason. Because everyone plays guitar. And I didn't want to play something that everyone played. Now that I play the Guzheng, in hindsight, a lot of times I'm thinking to myself, why didn't I just play guitar?
What?
It's so easy. I could have simplified my life. So in school, I became increasingly interested in Chinese music and I mean just traditional Asian music broadly.
Mm-hmm.
But I set out to write a Chinese opera. And I told my, in quotations, mentor about it. Mentor meaning like I met with him once or twice a year. Just not really a mentor, just someone that is obligated to speak to me. I kind of just floated the idea by him. He said, oh, that's a great idea. Do you know how to play any Chinese instruments?
Right.
No. You know, I didn't even think about it because I've always felt like, oh, I'm such a terrible instrumentalist. Like, I'm not a musician, I'm just a singer. That's another thing about the elitist sort of music scene.
Yeah.
Singers are so put down.
Really?
Yes.
Oh.
Like as if the voice is not an instrument. I mean, it's also like the most primal, visceral sort of sound, you know, that someone can make as a human. But yeah, I felt very self-conscious about only being a singer. Like, oh, how lame is it that I'm not a real musician? Anyway, so I Googled Chinese instruments, like teachers. I originally wanted to play erhu. I've always loved erhu, the sound of it.
Well, what does that one look like?
It's the little stringed instrument.
Oh, that one, the one string one?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, 2 strings.
2 strings.
But I found Bei Bei, the Guzheng teacher, and I didn't really think about it. I just called her, and I went to go meet with her, and the last year of school, I drove an hour and a half every, I don't know what it was, Friday or something when I didn't have class, to take a lesson with her.
All the way to Orange County.
She's in Orange County now. She was in Hacienda Heights before.
Okay.
So I drove from Valencia to Hacienda Heights.
Mm.
And it just clicked. I don't know. It just felt like something I wanted to work at.
That's so interesting. So your teacher's like Bei Bei. You know what's funny is that, okay, so my friend, he's learning Guzheng too, you know, and when he used to live in OC, he actually took lessons from Bei Bei also.
Really?
Yeah. And I mean, he's in Hollywood now, but yeah, I think he bought Guzheng from her or something, and he's currently learning it. But it's just kind of cool that you guys have those connections. And
yeah, actually, I found quite a few connections with Bei Bei randomly.
Yeah. But
you know, she's around. She's the Guzheng master, I would say, in this area. Of course, there are others, but she's really built up her presence.
Yeah.
She's a fabulous teacher, and she's an amazing player.
Yeah.
You know, so people know her.
Yeah.
She gets around.
So after you got some lessons from her, like, did you just go DIY from there, just kind of making your own songs?
Yeah, kind of immediately I started writing my own songs.
There you go. Okay.
You know, much to the, I don't know, everyone sort of warned me, like, oh, well, you should just focus on learning the instrument and then from there, you know, write your own songs. But I just, right off the bat, I was very dedicated to learning the traditional technique and also writing my own songs. Just from the beginning.
That's so cool.
Yeah, so I just did it. And I don't know what it is about the Guzheng. I mean, I think partly it's, you know, it is part of my heritage, I feel. It's a way for me to connect to that somehow.
Yeah.
But it also is an instrument that is built on subtlety. There's so many subtleties, and I love that about it. It's also extremely challenging, and there's not very many resources for it.
Right.
You know, so in my, you know, my frustrated moments, I think, oh, I should have just learned guitar. But then I think, you know, no, this is good for me. This is a challenge. I'm challenging myself. There's no one else who's expecting me to do it. I have to do it.
Yeah.
You know, and I mean, I have to learn how to accommodate for it.
Yeah.
You know, it's like weirdly shaped. It's huge.
It is
There
huge.
aren't very many resources for it here.
Yeah.
Right now I'm having a friend install a pickup in it because I've tried different ways of miking it. I got an electric instrument, but the electric is kind of a prototype, so it's really faulty. I'm having this issue now where it just won't stay in tune.
I see.
You know, and then I have to contact the Chinese manufacturers through the store where I bought it. I mean, it's just insane.
Yeah.
And as far as arranging things, you know, it's not diatonically suited. I mean, there's 21 strings and you have to tune accordingly, and it takes time and it takes planning. And then there's bending, there's double bending to get the right chords. I mean, it's just it's a lot.
Yeah.
It's a lot, but I somehow feel like in the end it'll be worth it.
No, it definitely will be. I mean, like, the fact that, like, you're putting this whole thing together, it's like, it's mind blowing, you know. But I was actually going to ask you about the pickup and all those things for Guzheng. Is it like, so you can plug it into an amp, or no? Is it like?
No. I mean, so the first kind of mics I was using were the transducer mics I would just stick on top of the soundboard.
Okay, gotcha.
I was using two. And yes, you can plug it in through an amp, but you need like a preamp. You need all the special shit. And the electric one was super easy because I just plugged it in, but a couple months after I started using it, the bridges, the silicone underneath just basically melted. Oh, damn. And the whole instrument just was not staying in tune.
Oh.
It's just a whole thing.
Right, yeah.
So hopefully, having this friend test out how to install a pickup.
Yeah.
And hopefully that'll work for now.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, worst case scenario, you just mic it.
Yeah, because I always thought it'd be cool if you, like, plug it into, like, this big pedal board and just, like, put on some reverb.
Yeah, well, it is very cool. And I have been experimenting with that for years now. But it's just not, it's not simple, you know? It's not like, plug it in and go. I mean, there's all these extra things, and there's a lot of feedback issues, and getting the right levels. It's just a lot.
Yeah.
But I'm working on it.
Nah, dude, like, keep doing it. But also, like, one thing that I thought was, you know, because I thought, you know, because your music is very unique with how, like, you influence the Chinese influence. And that was so redundant and stupid. All right, like where you add Chinese influence to your music, and I think it's really cool. But one of the most impressive thing is the fact that you play and sing at the same time. And whenever I watch, let's say, like, it's a completely different instrument, but Joanna Newsom, like, who plays harp and has, like, super strong vocal. It's like the instrument itself is so delicate, but there's, like, so much going on, and yet, like, you're singing, like, something like unbelievable, you know. So, like, in your case, like, how long did it take for you to, like, get used to playing and singing at the same time?
That's funny that you bring up Joanna Newsom, because just yesterday I was compared to her, which I was not into, but that's maybe another conversation. Just because I started writing right away,
right? Yeah,
and singing,
yeah.
It's a daily challenge.
Yeah,
that's the only way I know how to say it.
Right. Yeah.
It's because first of all, traditionally you sit and play, So I've been trying to transition into standing and playing so I have more room. Because as much as I love the Guzheng and as much as I want it to be a part of my life, my voice will always be my instrument, my number one. You know, and I don't want to sacrifice my voice because I'm trying to play this crazy thing. So it's been challenging. It's also not something, unlike the harp, you have it right by your face. So you're looking at it and you can have a mic in front of your face and the harp in front of your face. You know, it's horizontal and it's down low, so you're kind of looking down, looking up. I mean, it's just, I have to practice with the mic. You know, I just repeat things over and over again. I mean, that's, you know, that's what I do.
Have you dropped the Guzheng yet, or no?
What do you mean?
Oh, like, have you broke it before?
Oh, no. Actually, an earthquake, like 2 or 3 years ago, picture fell off my wall and dented my Guzheng.
Oh, damn.
But, you know, it's kind of like adds to its charm or whatever. No, I mean, I've broken a string and just like a tiny crack in the bottom. You know, I'm not really that worried about it. I feel like it gives it character or something.
It's especially like because you were saying there isn't much resources around it. Like, it's just kind of like hard to like put it back together, right? I mean, like,
who am I gonna ask? Like,
go to Guitar Center.
You know what? I've taken it to Guitar Center to show
have?
them a few times just to be like, oh, I'm looking for this, I'm looking for that, and I mean, people just come over and look at it like, what the hell am I supposed to do with this?
Okay.
Yeah, I just can't.
Okay. It's kind of an unknown territory. Really.
Oh yes.
Yeah. I wanted to talk about the EP. I want to talk to you about the. Damn, the motorcycles crazy.
Yeah, I hate them.
Yeah, I want to talk to you about the EP that you released last year, Stark Night. I thought it was a cool EP just because the like every song on there is like different. You know, like it has like a different atmosphere to it. Like, and especially like when I listen to songs like Ace of Wands, it definitely has like a very traditional approach to like how the song like builds up and stuff too. It's very I guess cinematic is the word. Like you've described your music like that before. Like and it's easy to kind of like visualize like what's going on. You know, like it feels like an opening of a movie or something. But
cool.
and then like I'll listen to songs like Turtle Dove. It kind of has this like it's a lot different feel. It's like slow and like atmospheric, kind of like some guitar part kind of reminds me of what like Radiohead would do, like you know, and stuff. And I just like the whole dark environment. But out of all the songs, I really enjoy Loom. Yeah, the one that you made music video for. But do you happen to have a favorite track on the EP?
Well, they're all my favorite in different ways.
Yeah.
That EP, I feel like I didn't even really publicize it because those were songs that I wrote in college.
Oh, okay.
And it took so long to get them out. I mean, it was a year extra. Like, it was supposed to come out winter of 2015, like at the latest. But I had this whole just issue with my engineer. And anyway, so I just felt so done and ready to move on. So I just kind of put it out. I was like, okay, next. And I'm only now looking back on it and listening to it and thinking like, this was a moment in my life and I appreciate it, you know?
Yeah.
So I appreciate each song differently.
Yeah.
Ace of Wands is the first song I wrote on the Guzheng.
Okay.
So it feels very special to me just because it just represents this new chapter musically.
Yeah.
Loom is definitely the song that I think people gravitate towards. And Loom was one of those songs where there wasn't much thinking about it. You know, sometimes, I mean, I have thousands of voice memos, just little ideas here and there, and I mean, I just, you know, write things down, record on a computer. I mean, I'm very disorganized when it comes to that. But Loom was just this song that I was just driving, and I just felt this emotion, and it just came out. I don't know how else to say it. It just was birthed. I don't know.
Right, yeah.
So I feel like Loom, there's just something more visceral about it. You know, maybe that's part of the appeal. I don't know. I fought with my engineer about how saturated the strings were and the quote clashing parts of my voice with the music, but I was very determined to have it like that.
Yeah.
And then Turtle Dove's interesting too. That was the song. It's very atmospheric.
Yeah.
And it was actually the one that I eventually released was shorter than it was initially.
It's like 7 minutes long, right?
Yeah, it was a long song because it was just getting into it. Like, that was it's just the process, you know? And I also had comments from my people I played with, band members, and also like engineer, producer kind of people were like, oh, it's too long. There's so much space, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, but it's a process. And, you know, maybe it's a selfish kind of thing. Like, maybe I just enjoy the process. But, and then Stark Night, the title track, I guess, is... I feel like that's, like, the peak of this cinematic sort of celestial place I was in at that time. You know?
Yeah.
It's like, I don't know. It was all the step to where I am now. I don't know how else to say it.
Yeah. You say you're talking about, like, kind of clashing with the engineer and stuff, but, like, are you, like always there, like, when it's, like, all, like, during mixing and stuff, too? So, like, just kind of...
Some of the time. I mean, this particular engineer, he's very talented.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong. But our personalities ended up not working.
Right, yeah.
And part of it, honestly, was, you know, I think it was easy for him to make me feel young. You know, I was, 20, 21, recording this. Was my first thing, and he's very professional, and he's an older guy.
Yeah.
And he, you know, would just try to make me feel small. You know, I was very, very certain about particular ideas. Open in other ways.
Yeah.
But especially when it came to my voice, like, I just was like, no Melodyne, no auto-tune, nothing like that. Like, we're going to re-record it if it's going to take a whole day to do one part, we're going to do it.
That's good.
You know, and I would type up all these mixing notes. He particularly didn't want me there while we were mixing. You know, some people don't want that. I'm like, okay. So I wrote up all these very, you know, detailed notes.
Yeah.
And then he would send me songs back, and I could tell that he fucked with my vocals. Like I can't tell.
Yeah.
You know, and I would calmly bring it up to him, and he would, you know, just insinuate that I didn't know what I was talking about.
I see.
I was young, and I would just get so upset. You know, it was also, I personally think it was about me being a young female.
Right.
You know, it was definitely that kind of dynamic.
Yeah, but I think it's important to, like, be specific, and, like, the fact that, like, you're able to, like, bring that up and just be like, okay, I want the sound exactly to be like this, instead of just, like, somebody doing, like, the work for you, you know? It's really...
Yeah. Well, and you know what? And I'm honest about what I don't know.
Yeah.
And what I don't know about, you know? Because, I mean, there's a reason why I'm not engineering my own stuff.
Yeah.
That is an art form in and of itself.
Of course.
You know, I'm not saying that I don't know how much work it takes, or, you know, things that aren't possible. Like, you know, a lot of it I don't know. But I have to find out. You know, we have to just go through it in order to find out.
Yeah.
But sound-wise, most of the time I know what I want.
Yeah.
And I've, you know, I can recognize now that I've let people influence that too much in certain ways. I don't think, like, the finished product is not me or anything, but especially in getting my new music together and, I don't know, in rehearsals and trying to get this new sound going, I feel like I've kind of let my own desire for a certain sound kind of go, because I don't know how to get there necessarily, and I've let it just kind of fizzle because I'm like, oh, I don't know how to do it.
Yeah.
Which I am changing now. You know, it's just this, you know, it's a process.
Yeah. So you're currently, like, writing new music right now. And...
Yeah, I have been for a long time.
Yeah.
But I just started recording.
Oh, cool.
So I will be releasing a song next month.
Tight.
Yeah. With a video.
With a video.
Yeah.
Sweet.
My goal is to release every song now with an accompanying video.
Whoa, that's
or
cool.
a short film.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a lot, but that's what I'm trying to do. And I'm also working with a different concept this time. So this song, mostly the video I feel is important, and not because of what we're actually doing, but the entire cast and crew are all Asian American.
Ah, okay.
Yeah. All the women I have cast in it are half Asian.
Okay.
They're all Hapa.
Appa.
Yeah, hey. And then, the crew is also Asian American, two of whom are also Hapa. It was almost an entirely Hapa cast and crew.
Why did you decide to do that?
I've identified that a central thing in why I do anything artistically, creatively, is my own contemplation of my identity, as an Asian American. What does that mean?
Right.
And I think as someone who identifies as Asian American, it's partly my responsibility to represent Asian Americans.
I see. Yeah.
Not in the way that I'm representation of all Asian Americans. Not like that, but if I can, I want to make others more visible.
Right.
Because Asians are so not visible in the media. There's definitely an increasing effort to make other people, non-white people, more visible in the arts and in the media, but we're still really behind. And
Sure,
I was saying, before, that everything has a political note. I think that is political. And like I said, I'm not saying that I am the voice of the Asians.
No, I don't think so.
But I am a voice amongst many.
Yeah.
I'm not special, but I am one of many who have yet to be represented accordingly,
right? Yeah.
To the population.
Yeah, I think it's interesting that not only the actors are Asian American, but also the cast and crew, because that also shows how how we think and how we're going to present that into video too. And I think that's because we all have our own instinct, right? So that
totally.
And that's pretty cool though.
And that's exactly what I'm after too. It's not, of course, seeing things, on a basic level. Yeah, see things, you get used to it. But especially in the film and music industry, I'll just speak about those because I know those the best.
Yeah.
There are many more minorities and women involved nowadays.
Yeah.
And visible. But still, the people who are in charge are mostly white men. The people who are writing stories about minorities and directing minorities and whatever, etc., are a lot of white men.
Yeah.
Mostly, still, to this day, and that, of course, influences the product.
Right.
How can it not? We all, no matter what we think, we all have instincts, we all have biases.
Yeah, of course.
We all came from certain environments, and we all are in a certain context at all times.
Yeah, we all have preferences, and it's kind of it comes from the mind to itself.
Yeah,
so,
totally. There's even times when I have to kind of step down and be like, okay, wait, am I just on this high horse, and is what I'm doing really Asian American? If I actually grew up kind of like a white person, is it different? And then you have to say, okay, yes it is, because it's just me, so yes, of course, there's this social and environmental thing that happens to all of us.
Of course, yeah.
We're all socialized a certain way. But in the end, I think deeply, we all have our own instincts.
Yeah.
And ways that we do things.
Yeah.
No matter the environment, no matter our parents or the schools we went to. I think a lot of it's just how we see ourselves. And I'm like, okay, I've always felt that this is a part of who I am.
Yeah.
And that will come out no matter what. And no matter what I look like, because, most people don't even know that I'm Asian. A lot of people, especially white people, kind of can sense that there's something going on.
Yeah.
It's ethnically ambiguous.
Yeah.
And nowadays, especially in LA, there's so many half Asians. And I see half Asian kids all the time now, everywhere.
Oh, yeah.
There's so many. It's really, But, in Asia, too, people don't know that I'm Asian.
Oh,
I don't
really?
know that I'm Chinese. No.
Okay, yeah.
You know how many times I've been called Katie Holmes? Like, people literally think I look like Katie Holmes. They don't believe that I'm Chinese.
Yeah, it's same with like when I'm in Japan too. Like when I'm at like Narita Airport, like when you like right before you get into the country, like you show the passport, right? Like through the gate, and then like there'll be like these Japanese people just walking in and having their passport checked. And as soon as I get to mine, they start speaking English to me because like they assume that like they automatically know that like I'm like an outsider, you know, gaijin or something. So yeah, it's crazy because people are able to like identify like easily, and sometimes like I mean I don't necessarily feel like I'm like completely separated, like, you know, sometimes it's just kind of like whatever, but then like, you know, but it does hurt a lot of people though too at the same time.
Well, and it's half Hapas or half anything people. I mean, I would even argue like immigrants are kind of in between these two feelings, right? Because especially now, because this is like a central thing in what I do, like being Asian American and being, you know, different, whatever. I've been grouped into these kind of like minority groups and like, oh, like you're a minority now and we have to band together, these minorities. And I'm like, you know, I'm not a minority. Maybe technically, yes, but I also recognize how I grew up, which is as a white person, and then secondarily as an Asian person.
Right, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I'm not part of the, quote, white people, but I'm also not part of the minorities.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want to say that I've had the same experience as another minority. I would never say that.
Right, yeah.
You know what I mean?
I know what you mean, yeah.
Like, I would never say that my struggles are even comparable to the majority of what, especially darker skinned people have to deal with.
Yeah, they get a lot of stuff. So
yeah. But I'm also not totally within this like purely white realm.
Yeah.
I'm also not in there either.
It's kind of like in between, right?
Exactly. Exactly. Well, and that's exactly the space that I want to explore.
Yeah.
Not just in that way. I mean, in every way. I want to just explore this in between space, and I think that comes out in my music. And it's neither here nor there. It's been difficult for me to describe it and to place it. Yeah. Because it's just kind of exists in this space where it's like, okay, could be this, could be that, you know, it's, and that's kind of, I just feel like that's sort of me.
I was wondering, like, because I know in Japan, like Hafu or like somebody that's Hapa like me is like, kind of like looked up to, like, you know, like to a certain degree, but like in China, like how do like people there like view you, like?
So, okay, there's two things I have to say about that. I think Asia in general has an obsession and a hatred of whiteness.
Yeah.
You know?
Agree. Yeah, I agree.
And then on top of that, of Westerners.
Yeah.
And I would like to separate whiteness with Westerners because they're different.
Yeah.
Asians have their own hierarchy of whiteness prior to Western contact. You know?
Yeah.
Like, they have their own thing going on.
Yeah.
And then there's Western culture. There's colonialism. There's wars. Many wars have been fought.
Yeah.
You know? So there's all of these things. So, for me, I feel like an outsider because I'm a white person.
Yeah.
And because I'm a Westerner.
Yeah.
But I do think that I'm looked at a certain way, in a good way, because I'm white. You know, and then there's this added thing that I'm half. You know, and it's this kind of novelty.
No, I feel the same way. Yeah.
But I would say it's less so that I'm half Chinese and more so that I'm a white person.
Right. Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
Like, I'm both like, okay, she's an outsider, but she's white. It's really, I mean, that's the truth. That's, you know, and it's also not just a feeling. Like, people have literally said that to me.
Yeah.
You know, it's not just I feel like, I mean, it's partly that, but it's also partly just what people say to me.
Yeah.
And, and, you know, growing up, I always felt very other. I was one of the only, quote, minorities in my little radius in school for a long time. And then, you know, after school especially, I thought, like, I don't really have any Asian friends. And I started making more Asian friends, and it was kind of this elephant in the room that I was like the only white person with my Asian friends.
Right.
And then I would share with them that I am Asian, and it would be this, oh my god, sort of moment.
Right.
It was crazy.
Yeah.
It was crazy. I mean, people literally said to me like, oh, I get it now. That's why you're hanging out with us. Like that kind of thing.
What?
Yes, I'm serious. I'm serious. I wish I could record all of this.
Yeah.
Because it's true. With the things that come out of people's mouths.
Oh wow, that's why you're hanging out with us.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Exactly. I'm like, that's not really why, but
no, it's like a weird like hindsight judgment, like even like Japan has too, where it's like if I because I can speak Japanese, and if I start speaking Japanese, like everybody would be surprised, like, whoa, no way, dog, what? Like you just speak Japanese? Holy shit, what?
I know.
Like, yeah. So I mean, it's just it's a weird feeling because it's not. I mean, of course, like I don't expect them to know, but like it's just kind of like this surprise of that. You're one of us.
Exactly.
It's like
exactly.
That, yeah.
It's this kind of like, oh, wait, I can just breathe. You're one of us thing.
Yeah.
Although, I don't know how fluent you are, but I'm not totally fluent.
Right. Yeah.
So I feel really embarrassed about that.
I see.
It's difficult for me to. I mean, I'm learning, and I just need to try, and I just need to get over my embarrassment. Yeah, and I think the more so I just push myself into that and go to Hong Kong and spend time with family and friends.
Yeah, dude.
Just do it,
Yeah.
But it's definitely like this personal, almost like humiliation that I feel that I can't be part of them.
Right.
But I'm American, so.
No, that's true. That's true.
And I'm I grew up here, so. And I'm sure it's the same in Japan. Like, if you didn't grow up there, you're never really part of the OG club.
No, not at all. No, it'll be hard for me to like swim through the society and like look for work there or something like that. I have a very difficult time. Yeah. For this next question, I wanted to ask. This is what I ask on every podcast episode too, because as much as like we're both musicians, we're also an audience as well. And I don't know like if you go to like a lot of live shows, but I wanted to like ask you like what was like one of the most memorable artists you've seen live?
Wow.
You can include like both like DIY or even like a venue show for this one.
Okay. Well, I've been to not as many shows as I should have been to. I'm trying. The last couple of years I've been trying to get out more.
Yeah.
Definitely. Alright, well, okay, there's a couple that I'll bring up.
Yeah.
Patrick Watson. Do you know Patrick Watson?
No, I don't think so.
Really good French-Canadian band.
Uh-huh.
I didn't really like his music. I don't know, I just didn't like it.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, I think it was Adventures in Your Own Backyard came out. That's his, album from 2012 or something like that. I don't know.
Yeah.
And I just was hooked. Something changed, I don't know.
Yeah.
And then he came to LA, a year or 2 years ago now?
Mm-hmm.
Can't really remember when exactly, but I went to both of his shows.
Okay.
But the first show, just blew my mind. It was just amazing.
Right.
Because the music is phenomenal.
Yeah.
And emotional and driving, but there's a lot of space and quiet, and there's a lot of moments, and they're all just great musicians.
Yeah.
But Patrick himself is a great performer.
Yeah.
And I really admire that. And when I see a really good show, I go through this wave of emotions where it's like, I'm super into it, I'm super energized, and then I get really emotional, I feel like I shed some tears, and then I feel, I don't want to say I feel bad about myself, but it's sort of this like, being in awe of people and music and the world that we live in, and that's kind of this, and that happens to me all the time. It's like this kind of cycle I go through.
Yeah.
And I always end up just in awe of the immensity of existence.
Right.
Yeah. And I, when I originally said like feel bad about myself, because I just think like, how could I ever do that? Like what he just did in this, 5 minutes.
Right.
Like how could I ever endeavor to make someone else feel like that
Yeah.
in a few seconds.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
It is.
You know?
Yeah.
So it's more so like that, where I'm not like I don't actually feel bad, but yeah.
It's kind of like one of those things, like after watching a show, it makes you want to go home and practice. Or
Yeah, it makes me want to practice. It makes me want to, like conceptualize my own stuff. And then it also has the adverse effect where I'm like, well, I might as well just give up now. There's no way I'm going to be this great ever. Like, it could never be that great. Okay, time to give up.
I see. Well, that's pretty awesome, though. I've never listened to his music before, but I'll definitely check it out.
Yeah, I had a similar experience at the first Fleet Foxes concert I went to in high school.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it was just a synergy, I don't know what else to say. It was just synergy.
Yeah, I actually saw Fleet Foxes at the Greek 5 years ago or so. Yeah. I used to kind of I love their music, but I kind of underestimated them, just thinking I don't think they're going to pull off all those harmonies live. But no,
It's so good.
I was so wrong.
Yeah, and I saw them before they got super, super famous. I saw them in Denver with my best friends.
Oh, really? Okay.
In a small theater.
Really?
So it just was, it was so intimate and you could hear every little thing.
Yeah.
And damn, do they have their harmonies together.
Mm-hmm.
I so appreciate that, especially as a vocalist. I'm like, good for you. I've gone to a lot of shows where, it's a group of mostly guys who harmonize with each other, but they don't harmonize.
Yeah.
It doesn't sound like their album.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, well, I know it's not easy, but come on.
Yeah, I know.
Famous.
No, that's what you call a show, man. If you're able to pull that off.
Totally.
Yeah. Now, I pretty much asked all I wanted to ask, but for just the last segment that I have, it's called this, that. I'm just gonna throw you some questions, and then you could just give me a one-word answer. But you don't have. It doesn't have to be one word. Yeah. I mean, we could go with something simple. Cats or dogs?
Cats.
That was easy, right? No.
Yeah.
So, see, when you listen to music, what hits you first? Rhythm, lyrics, or melody?
Definitely not rhythm. Lyrics.
Lyrics. Yeah. All right. Next one. Favorite Deerhoof song?
Oh my god, that's hard. Do you know that I love Deerhoof?
Yeah.
Oh, you do?
No, I mean, I just kind of read through the thing. I just read through a thing saying that you like Deerhoof, so I was kind of okay.
Oh, really? Oh, I didn't realize I ever said that. Yeah, I love Deerhoof. My favorite song? I can't pick a favorite song.
Or it could be an album. It doesn't have to be a song, but what album by them? Because I know they got one hell of a discography, so
Yeah, well, see, that's the problem. They have this huge library. Okay, I would say that the song that got me listening to Deerhoof was, of course, I'm not going to remember the name of it.
Yeah.
If I were a man and you a dog. If I were a man and you a dog.
I think
that one.
Yeah. I think
that's the song that got me into Deerhoof.
Yeah. Now have you seen them before?
I see them every time I can.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I snuck into their show in Denver when I was 14. Died. It was amazing. And I've gone to 4 shows in LA.
Oh, okay.
I'm a big fan.
You're a fan. Gotcha. All right, next one. T-Rex or Lou Reed?
T-Rex?
T-Rex, okay.
Both.
Both? Yeah, I know, right? Now, here's the last one then. This is just a fill in a blank. Jett Kwong is...
Is there a group of kind of
I mean, you just have to pick a word. I mean, Jett Kwong is what?
Any word?
Yeah.
Oh my god, I'm literally going through every word that I know.
Dictionary.
Yeah, basically the dictionary of my head. Jett Kwong is...
You can edit me out. A badass.
I'm not a badass. Jett Kwong is not a badass. Jett Kwong is... here.
That's good, yeah. Jett Kwong is here.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did that, right.
Oh my god, I told you I was not cool.
No, that's all good, man.
I think it's okay. I
It's
forgive
okay.
you
It's
for
like,
not being cool.
You're cool. No, that was. I think that's a good answer, you know. But yeah. Well, once again, I just want to say thanks for participating in this thing.
Of course, thank you.
You know, it's our first time like meeting, but like you know, like I think we had a pretty good conversation.
Totally.
Overall. Yeah. But before I end the podcast, I end it with a song I put in a podcast. But like, is there any song from the EP that you want me to play?
You choose.
I choose.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. I'll choose then. All right. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
When it pulls weighty thing, I
That was Jett Kwong. If you want to hear more of her music, then check out the Bandcamp link in the description box below. More podcast episodes are coming, so don't forget to subscribe and like my channel. My name is Kazu, and I'll see you again on one and only Large K Podcast. Peace.